Cemeteries have long been places of solemn reflection, where the living pay tribute to those who came before. Yet beneath their serene surfaces lies a world steeped in mystery, folklore, and the inexplicable. These sacred grounds are not merely final resting places. They are portals to another realm, a liminal space where the boundaries between life and death blur. For centuries, stories of spectral apparitions, eerie phenomena, and unexplained occurrences have emanated from cemeteries across the globe, captivating the imaginations of believers and skeptics alike. In this episode of Most Haunted Cemeteries in the World, we delve deeper into these hallowed grounds, uncovering tales that send shivers down your spine while challenging the limits of what we understand about the afterlife. From ancient burial sites steeped in legend to modern graveyards haunted by restless spirits, each cemetery carries its own unique history, a tapestry woven with tragedy, betrayal, and unresolved mysteries. It is within these silent rows of headstones that whispers of the dead linger, beckoning us to listen. What makes a cemetery truly haunted? Is it the weight of untold sorrows buried beneath the earth? The echoes of lives cut tragically short? Or perhaps the enduring presence of souls unable, or unwilling, to move on? Whatever the cause, these locations share an undeniable allure, drawing curious visitors, paranormal investigators, and storytellers eager to peel back the veil of the unknown. Join me as we embark on a chilling journey through time and terror, exploring the dark corners of some of the world's most infamous cemeteries. Prepare to confront the shadows lurking among the tombstones, where every rustling leaf and flickering light might just be a sign that you're not alone. Whether you seek answers, thrills, or simply a brush with the supernatural, one thing is certain: these haunted cemeteries hold secrets that refuse to stay buried. St. Louis Cemetery No. 1, a bayou of shadows nestled in the heart of New Orleans, Louisiana. St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 stands as one of the most historically significant, and undeniably haunted, cemeteries in the world. Established in 1789, this above-ground burial ground reflects the city's unique cultural heritage, blending French, Spanish, and African influences into its labyrinthine layout. Its weathered tombs, adorned with intricate carvings and faded inscriptions, tell stories of generations past, yet it is the cemetery's darker legends that continue to captivate the imagination. Perhaps the most infamous resident of St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 is Marie Laveau, the Voodoo Queen of New Orleans. Born in 1801, Laveau was a powerful figure in the city's spiritual community, known for her mastery of voodoo rituals and her ability to heal, curse, or grant wishes. Her tomb, marked by 3XS scratched into its whitewashed surface, has become a focal point for both reverence and mischief. Visitors leave offerings such as coins, beads, and candles in hopes of invoking her favor, while others dare to defy her memory by defacing the sacred site. According to legend, disturbing Laveau's resting place invites her wrath, manifesting as inexplicable misfortunes or terrifying encounters with her ghostly form. The haunting energy of St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 extends far beyond Marie Laveau's tomb. Many report sightings of shadowy figures wandering aimlessly among the graves, their forms dissolving into mist when approached. Others describe hearing faint chanting or drumming, reminiscent of voodoo ceremonies conducted under the cover of darkness. One particularly chilling account comes from a tour guide who swore he saw a woman dressed in tattered robes standing atop a crypt, her eyes glowing like embers before vanishing without a trace. Adding to the cemetery's eerie reputation are tales of phantom funerals. Witnesses claim to have seen processions of mourners clad in Victorian attire, carrying coffins through the narrow pathways. When approached, these apparitions dissolve into thin air, leaving behind only the faint scent of incense and decay. Some believe these visions are echoes of past burials, replayed endlessly in the twilight hours. Others speculate they may be omens, foretelling the deaths of those who dare to witness them. Paranormal investigators have documented numerous unexplained phenomena within the cemetery's confines. EMF detectors frequently register spikes near specific tombs, particularly those associated with tragic deaths or unsolved murders. EVP recordings capture disembodied voices speaking in languages unfamiliar to the listener, while thermal cameras reveal cold spots concentrated around areas believed to be cursed. In one harrowing incident, A team captured footage of a translucent hand reaching out from behind a crumbling mausoleum, its fingers curling as if beckoning someone closer. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Guided tours offer glimpses into its rich history, but many visitors come seeking something more, a brush with the supernatural. For those brave enough to venture into its shadowy embrace, the cemetery promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the whispers of the past echo louder than ever. Highgate Cemetery. Shadows beneath the brambles tucked away in the northern reaches of London, Highgate Cemetery stands as a Gothic masterpiece frozen in time. Its sprawling acres of overgrown vegetation and crumbling monuments creating an atmosphere of profound melancholy. Established in 1839 during the Victorian era, this necropolis was once a prestigious final resting place for London's elite, including luminaries such as Karl Marx and novelist George Eliot. Today, however, it is better known for its haunting beauty and the spectral legends that swirl within its ivy-choked walls. Highgate Cemetery is divided into two sections: the East Cemetery, which is open to the public, and the West Cemetery, accessible only via guided tours. It is within the latter that the most chilling tales unfold. The West Cemetery's catacombs, designed to house dozens of bodies in stacked chambers, are said to be a hot spot for paranormal activity. Visitors recount feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them as they descend into the dimly lit corridors, accompanied by the sound of faint sobbing echoing off the stone walls. Some claim to see shadowy figures darting between the niches, their forms indistinct yet unmistakably human. One of the cemetery's most enduring legends centers around the so-called Highgate vampire, a mythical entity rumored to haunt the grounds. First reported in the late 1960s, the vampire was described as a tall, gaunt figure with piercing red eyes, preying on unsuspecting visitors under the cover of darkness. While skeptics dismiss the tale as urban legend, paranormal enthusiasts argue that the reports align with sightings of otherworldly beings throughout the cemetery's history. Investigators have captured photographs of strange orbs hovering near the graves, as well as audio recordings of guttural growls emanating from empty spaces. Another prominent figure tied to Highgate's haunted lore is Elizabeth Siddal, the muse and wife of Pre-Raphaelite painter Dante Gabriel Rossetti. Buried in the East Cemetery, Siddal's tragic life and untimely death at age 32 have fueled speculation about her restless spirit lingering among the tombstones. Tour guides often recount how Rossetti buried his unpublished poems with her, only to exhume them years later, a decision some believe cursed the site. Visitors to her grave report hearing soft singing, as though Siddal's ethereal voice still lingers, trapped between worlds. The cemetery's natural decay adds another layer of eeriness to its haunted reputation. Towering trees cast long, jagged shadows across the uneven pathways, while tangled brambles obscure names etched into weathered headstones. This wild, untamed environment creates the perfect backdrop for encounters with the supernatural. One particularly unsettling account comes from a photographer who claimed to capture an image of a young girl standing beside a grave, her face pale and expressionless. Upon closer inspection, he realized there had been no child present when the photo was taken. Paranormal researchers have conducted extensive investigations within Highgate Cemetery, documenting compelling evidence of its spectral inhabitants. Thermal imaging cameras reveal cold spots concentrated near certain graves, while electromagnetic field (EMF) meters spike erratically in areas associated with violent deaths or suicides. Perhaps the most chilling discovery came during a live investigation broadcast online. Viewers watching the feed spotted a translucent figure walking through the underbrush, its movements jerky and unnatural, before disappearing entirely. For those drawn to the macabre allure of Highgate Cemetery, the promise of encountering its ghosts, or unraveling the truth behind its legends, proves irresistible. Despite its decaying grandeur and somber ambience, the cemetery continues to attract thousands of visitors each year, eager to explore its labyrinthine paths and peer into the abyss of its haunted past. As twilight descends and the fog rolls in, the boundary between the living and the dead becomes increasingly blurred, inviting intrepid souls to step into a realm where shadows whisper secrets too terrible to forget. Père Lachaise Cemetery echoes among the mausoleums in the heart of Paris, where cobblestone streets wind through neighborhoods steeped in art and romance, lies Père Lachaise Cemetery, a sprawling necropolis that serves as both a final resting place for luminaries and a theater of the supernatural. Since its establishment in 1804, this iconic cemetery has become synonymous with elegance and history, housing the remains of literary giants like Oscar Wilde, musicians such as Edith Piaf, and revolutionary figures including Jim Morrison. Yet, beneath its picturesque facade of ornate mausoleums and towering monuments, Père Lachaise harbors secrets that transcend mortality, drawing curious visitors into a world where the dead refuse to rest. One of the most persistent legends surrounding Père Lachaise involves the restless spirit of François Chopin, the celebrated Polish composer whose music continues to resonate across centuries. Though his heart was interred in Warsaw, his body rests in a modest grave adorned with sculptures of weeping angels. Visitors to his tomb often report hearing faint strains of piano melodies drifting through the air, despite the absence of any visible source. Some claim the notes correspond to Chopin's compositions, as if his genius lingers in the ether, performing eternal recitals for those who pause to listen. Others describe seeing a pale figure seated at an invisible keyboard, its hands moving gracefully before dissolving into mist. Equally enigmatic is the story of Oscar Wilde's tomb, a striking Art Deco monument covered in lipstick kisses left by admirers over the years. However, not all interactions with Wilde's resting place are benign. Paranormal investigators recount instances of disembodied laughter echoing near the tomb, accompanied by the sensation of being watched. One visitor swore he felt icy breath against his ear, followed by a whispered phrase in a language he couldn't understand. Skeptics attribute these phenomena to the psychological impact of visiting such a revered site, yet believers insist Wilde's sharp wit and flamboyant personality endure beyond death, manifesting in playful, and sometimes sinister, ways. Among the cemetery's lesser-known tales is the haunting of the murdered lover's tomb, a secluded corner dedicated to star-crossed couples whose lives ended tragically. Local lore suggests that their doomed love affairs continue to play out in spectral form, with witnesses reporting silhouettes of embracing figures appearing briefly before vanishing into thin air. The sound of muffled sobs can often be heard emanating from this area, even when no one is visibly present. One particularly chilling account describes a couple who visited the tomb late at night, only to find themselves surrounded by shadowy forms reaching toward them, as if pleading for release from their eternal anguish. Père Lachaise's dense foliage and winding pathways create an atmosphere ripe for paranormal encounters. The interplay of light and shadow casts eerie patterns on the ground, while the rustling leaves seem to whisper secrets carried on the wind. Many report feeling an inexplicable chill as they pass certain graves, particularly those associated with violent deaths or unsolved mysteries. In one documented case, a tour group claimed to see a man in 19th-century attire standing atop a mausoleum, gazing blankly ahead before stepping off the edge and disappearing into nothingness. Paranormal researchers have conducted numerous expeditions within Père Lachaise, capturing intriguing evidence of its haunted nature. Thermal cameras reveal cold spots near specific tombs, while audio recordings pick up fragmented phrases spoken in multiple languages, as though voices from different eras converge in the same space. Electromagnetic field (EMF) detectors frequently spike in areas linked to historical tragedies, suggesting the presence of residual energy trapped within the stones. Perhaps the most unsettling discovery came during a nighttime investigation, when a team captured video footage of a translucent figure gliding silently along a pathway, its features indistinct but unmistakably humanoid. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, Père Lachaise remains one of Paris's most visited landmarks. Tourists flock to its gates seeking connection with the famous departed, unaware that they may encounter more than marble memorials and engraved epitaphs. For those brave enough to wander its labyrinthine paths after dusk, the cemetery offers an unparalleled glimpse into a realm where the past refuses to fade, and the spirits of those who shaped our world linger, waiting to share their untold stories. Greyfriars Kirkyard, Edinburgh's ghostly embrace perched atop a hill overlooking Scotland's historic capital, Greyfriars Kirkyard is a place where time seems to stand still. Founded in the 16th century, this ancient graveyard serves as the final resting place for countless souls, their stories etched into weathered tombstones and shadowed crypts. But Greyfriars is no ordinary cemetery. It is a site steeped in dark history, where tales of persecution, betrayal, and supernatural vengeance intertwine to create one of the most haunted locations in the world. At the heart of Greyfriars' haunted lore lies the infamous Covenanters Prison, a walled-off section of the kirkyard where hundreds of Scottish Presbyterians were imprisoned during the tumultuous era of religious conflict in the late 1600s. Known as the Covenanters, these dissenters opposed the imposition of Anglican practices on their faith, leading to brutal crackdowns by King Charles II's forces. Those who refused to swear allegiance to the crown were rounded up and confined within the prison's damp, crumbling walls, subjected to starvation, torture, and execution. It is said that the suffering endured by these martyrs has left an indelible mark on the land, their anguished spirits forever bound to the place of their torment. Chief among Greyfriars' spectral residents is Sir George Mackenzie, a ruthless lawyer and Lord Advocate during the reign of Charles II. Nicknamed Bloody Mackenzie, for his role in suppressing the Covenanters, Mackenzie oversaw the imprisonment and execution of hundreds, earning him a reputation as one of Scotland's cruelest historical figures. Buried in a black mausoleum within the kirkyard, his tomb has become a focal point of paranormal activity. Visitors report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread as they approach the structure, accompanied by sudden drops in temperature, and the sensation of being pushed or scratched by unseen hands. Many claim to hear guttural growls emanating from inside the sealed vault, while others describe seeing a shadowy figure clad in 17th-century attire prowling the grounds after dark, dubbed the Mackenzie Poltergeist. This malevolent presence has been blamed for a series of bizarre and often violent incidents. Tourists have reported bruises appearing mysteriously on their skin, scratches inflicted without explanation, and objects flying through the air seemingly of their own accord. In one particularly harrowing account, a visitor attempting to take a photograph of the mausoleum claimed that her camera shattered in her hands, its lens cracking as if struck by an invisible force. Another recounted being thrown violently to the ground near the tomb, sustaining injuries severe enough to require medical attention. Local authorities have since barred access to the Covenanters' prison and Mackenzie's mausoleum, citing safety concerns, but the disturbances persist, spilling into adjacent areas of the graveyard. Beyond the horrors associated with Mackenzie's legacy, Greyfriars is home to other ghostly phenomena that defy easy explanation. The cemetery's labyrinthine pathways, lined with leaning gravestones and overgrown vegetation, provide ample hiding spots for unseen entities. Witnesses describe encountering shadowy figures darting between the tombs, their forms dissolving into mist when approached. Others report hearing faint cries and moans, as though the victims of centuries-old atrocities still call out for justice. One recurring apparition is that of a small boy, believed to be the ghost of a child buried in the kirkyard, who appears briefly before vanishing into thin air. Paranormal investigators have documented numerous unexplained occurrences within Greyfriars' hallowed grounds. Thermal imaging cameras reveal cold spots concentrated near specific graves, particularly those associated with violent deaths or tragic circumstances. Electromagnetic field (EMF) detectors register erratic spikes in areas linked to historical conflicts, suggesting the presence of residual energy trapped within the soil. Audio recordings capture disembodied voices speaking in fragmented sentences, some pleading for mercy, others issuing ominous warnings. Perhaps the most chilling evidence comes from video footage showing a translucent figure pacing outside Mackenzie's mausoleum, its movements jerky and unnatural, before disappearing entirely. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, Greyfriars Kirkyard remains a popular destination for tourists and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Guided ghost tours offer tantalizing glimpses into its dark past, but many visitors come seeking something more, a brush with the supernatural. For those brave enough to venture into its shadowy embrace, the cemetery promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of Scotland's turbulent history reverberate louder than ever. Mount Koya-Okinoin Cemetery whispers beneath the cedars nestled deep within the sacred mountains of Japan. Mount Koya-Okinoin Cemetery stands as a testament to the intersection of spirituality, history, and the supernatural. As the largest graveyard in the country, Okanoin is not merely a resting place for the departed but a pilgrimage site imbued with centuries of Buddhist tradition and mysticism. Established over 1,200 years ago by Kobo Daisher, the founder of Shingon Buddhism, the cemetery stretches across miles of moss-covered pathways and towering cedar trees, creating an atmosphere of profound serenity and subtle unease. At the heart of Okanoin lies the mausoleum of Kobo Daisher himself, believed by followers to be in eternal meditation rather than deceased. This belief has made the cemetery a focal point for religious devotion, drawing pilgrims from across the globe to honor his legacy. Yet, amid the chants of monks and the soft rustle of leaves, whispers of the supernatural weave through the air, hinting at forces that transcend human understanding. Unlike Western cemeteries, where hauntings often stem from unresolved trauma or violent deaths, Okanoin's spectral energy emerges from its unique blend of reverence, ritual, and the permeable boundary between life and death in Japanese cosmology. One of the most striking features of Okanoin is its eclectic collection of tombstones, many bearing little resemblance to traditional markers. Among the gravestones carved in the shapes of animals, household items, and even rocket ships, visitors will find monuments dedicated to corporate entities, an unusual practice rooted in Japanese beliefs about collective responsibility and ancestral continuity. These unconventional tributes lend the cemetery an almost whimsical charm, yet they also serve as reminders of the impermanence of existence. It is said that those who walk among these stones at night can hear faint murmurs, as if the spirits of the departed are engaged in endless conversations about their earthly legacies. The haunting aura of Okanoin intensifies as one ventures deeper into its labyrinthine paths. The towering cedar trees, some over 500 years old, create a canopy so dense that sunlight barely penetrates, casting the entire area in perpetual twilight. This dim, otherworldly glow gives rise to countless tales of ghostly encounters. Pilgrims recount seeing shadowy figures gliding silently between the trees, their forms obscured by the mist that often blankets the cemetery. Others describe hearing footsteps trailing behind them, only to turn and find no one there. One particularly chilling account tells of a traveler who felt an icy hand grip their shoulder while praying at a memorial lantern, the touch so real it left a lasting impression long after they fled the scene. Central to Okanoin's haunted reputation is the Gobyo Bridge, a wooden structure that spans a tranquil stream near the entrance to Kobo Daisher's mausoleum. Tradition dictates that visitors must remain silent while crossing the bridge, as it marks the threshold between the mortal world and the sacred realm inhabited by the enlightened. Those who break this silence risk disturbing the spirits said to gather nearby, and stories abound of individuals who ignored the rule only to experience inexplicable phenomena. Some claim to have seen ghostly monks emerging from the forest, their faces obscured by flowing robes, while others report hearing disembodied voices chanting sutras in languages unfamiliar to them. The bridge itself is said to emit an eerie hum during quiet moments, as though resonating with the prayers of countless generations. Paranormal investigators who have ventured into Okanoin's depths describe it as a hotbed of electromagnetic anomalies. Devices such as EMF meters frequently register erratic spikes near certain graves, particularly those associated with tragic deaths or untimely ends. Thermal cameras reveal cold spots scattered throughout the cemetery, often concentrated around areas believed to harbor restless spirits. Audio recordings capture faint whispers, some offering blessings, others issuing cryptic warnings, adding layers of complexity to the cemetery's haunted narrative. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from infrared footage showing orbs of light hovering near specific tombstones, their movements deliberate and purposeful. Despite, or perhaps because of, its spectral allure, Mount Koya Okanoin remains a cherished destination for both the devout and the curious. Pilgrims seeking enlightenment travel great distances to meditate among its ancient stones, while thrill-seekers hope to catch a glimpse of the supernatural. For those willing to embrace the unknown, Okanoin offers a rare opportunity to confront the mysteries of existence, where the boundaries between the living and the dead blur, and the whispers of the past echo louder than words. As twilight descends and the cedars sway gently in the mountain breeze, Okanoin transforms into a realm of shadows and secrets, inviting intrepid souls to step beyond the veil of reality. Here, amidst the timeless beauty of moss and stone, the spirits of Mount Koya linger, waiting to share their eternal wisdom. or warn of the consequences of intruding upon their sanctified domain. In the bustling heart of Buenos Aires, Argentina, Recoleta Cemetery stands as a stark contrast to the vibrant chaos of the surrounding city. This sprawling necropolis, established in 1822, is a dazzling display of architectural opulence, its labyrinthine pathways lined with elaborate mausoleums resembling miniature palaces. Yet beneath its gilded facade lies a world steeped in intrigue, tragedy, and the supernatural, a place where the wealthy and influential rest uneasily alongside the restless spirits of those who cannot, or will not, move on. Recoleta Cemetery is perhaps best known as the final resting place of Eva Perón, the iconic First Lady of Argentina whose charisma and political influence earned her both adoration and controversy. Her tomb, located within the Duarte family mausoleum, draws thousands of visitors each year, many of whom leave flowers, letters, and tokens of remembrance. However, it is also a site of reported paranormal activity. Tour guides recount stories of visitors who claim to feel an inexplicable warmth emanating from Evita's crypt, as though her fiery passion for social justice continues to burn brightly. Others describe hearing faint whispers or catching glimpses of a woman dressed in white standing near the tomb, her presence fleeting yet unmistakable. But Eva Perón is not the only restless spirit said to inhabit Recoleta. The cemetery's grandiose mausoleums, built to immortalize the legacies of Argentina's elite, often conceal darker histories. One of the most chilling tales involves Rufina Cambaceres, a young woman entombed alive due to a tragic misunderstanding. According to legend, Rufina fell into a catatonic state following a traumatic event and was mistakenly declared dead. Days later, caretakers discovered claw marks inside her coffin and signs of desperate struggle, leading to her reburial in a more secure sarcophagus. Visitors to her ornate tomb report hearing faint scratching sounds and seeing the heavy bronze door rattle as though someone, or something, is trying to escape. Dear reader, as we draw this journey through the world's most haunted cemeteries to a close, I hope you felt the same spine-tingling allure that has drawn countless souls to these spectral sanctuaries. These hallowed grounds are more than mere collections of headstones and monuments. They are gateways to realms where the past refuses to fade, and the whispers of the departed echo louder than ever. From the shadowy alleys of Greyfriars to the mist-shrouded pathways of Mount Koya, each cemetery carries its own unique story, yet all share one undeniable truth: the dead are never truly gone. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of these haunted cemeteries yourself. Walk the same paths where spirits are said to roam, read the inscriptions etched into weathered stones, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these sacred grounds offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint strains of music in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted cemeteries, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.